On the night before the crucial dance exam, my boyfriend Leo, under the guise of celebrating my birthday, smashed a cream cake in my face. His real intention, though, was to help his first love steal my spot in the dance competition. Since I was allergic to cream, I ended up in the hospital and missed the exam. Furious, I rushed to confront Leo but got into a car accident. When I regained consciousness, I found myself back at the surprise birthday party. "Baby, I've got a surprise for you. Are you excited?" Leo asked, before lifting the cake to throw it at me. I ducked just in time, and instead the cake hit his first love, Violet, square in the face. "I'll show you a real surprise," I exclaimed. The entire room froze in shock. Just moments before, Violet had a soft smile, looking as composed and graceful as ever. But now her face was buried under cake, leaving her unable to scream. "Why did you dodge?" Leo asked, heading toward Violet. Without hesitating, I grabbed another piece of cake and smeared it all over Leo's face. "You like games? I'll play along." While Leo was busy wiping off the cream, I reached into his jacket, grabbed his phone, and unlocked it. On his messaging app, I found a picture of Violet lying seductively in a field of daisies. She was wearing a provocative outfit, her innocent-looking eyes betraying a different story. I pressed play on a series of voice messages Leo had sent to Violet, raising the volume for all to hear. "Violet, I'm only dating Nora for you. As long as I'm with her, she won't be able to compete with you for the professor's recommendation. For her birthday, I bought a cream cake. She's allergic to it, so that spot is yours." The room went silent. My friends, classmates, and even my roommate Joy was stunned. "You bastard!" Joy shouted, tossing a glass of wine in Leo's face. Now drenched and humiliated, Leo tried to shield Violet as I glared at him. "Leo, you knew I was allergic to cream, yet you did this on purpose. Do you think I'll just let this go?" I demanded. Leo's face turned pale, but he tried to keep calm. "It was just a joke, nothing serious," he muttered. "A joke? You went out of your way to chase me, bringing me breakfast and saving seats for me in the library. It was all for Violet, wasn't it? Sacrificing your dignity for her. You're pathetic," I replied coldly. Exposed, Leo grew reckless. "So what?" "Yeah, I played with you." His arrogance only deepened my disgust. "Even this so-called surprise was planned for her," I said, watching his bravado fade. "It was my idea alone. It had nothing to do with Violet. Besides, if you hadn't competed with her, none of this would have happened." Leo's attempt at deflection was met with disdain from everyone present. Stella, a sharp-eyed classmate, interrupted the chaos. "Wait, something's wrong with Violet. She can't breathe," she shouted. Leo rushed to check on Violet as Jason called for an ambulance. My heart sank as I remembered. While I was allergic to cream, Violet had an allergy to mangoes, and the cake had a thick layer of mango filling. Ironically, Leo's scheme had backfired. As the ambulance took Violet away, Leo followed without a second thought, leaving our argument unfinished. Watching them go, the room filled with mixed emotions. My roommate Joy consoled me, wrapping her arm around my shoulder. "Nora, it's better to get rid of someone like him. Don't feel bad," she reassured me, while others murmured agreement. However, Jason's comment cut through the sympathy. "Nora, you didn't lose much. Violet ended up in the hospital. You just had a bad birthday." Luna, Jason's girlfriend, snapped. "Are you serious?" How can you blame Nora for what happened? Jason tried to explain, but Luna stormed off, leaving him chasing after her. The room slowly cleared out, but not without one final mutter. Violet really lives up to her reputation. So many guys simping for her. Joy turned to me with a serious expression. Nora, Violet knew Leo was plotting against you. She did nothing to stop it. Violet had been subtly sabotaging me throughout college. Whenever she fell short in professional courses, she would make pitiful excuses, claiming the grading system was biased. She'd play the victim, pretending to be socially awkward and excluded. When the time came for us to compete for the professor's recommendation, she poured her grievances into Leo, manipulating him into helping her. All along, she maintained an image of innocence, letting others fight her battles. Reflecting on it now, I realized how Violet's deceptions had affected my past. She hadn't come to my party for friendship. She came to witness the drama. "She's disgusting," Joy said, her face filled with disgust. "She didn't even try to stop Leo. She came here just to watch you suffer." Violet stayed in the hospital for a week after her face swelled up from the allergic reaction, missing her chance at the dance exam. Meanwhile, I aced the interview, answering tricky questions confidently and impressing the panel with my responses. At one point, I even made the teachers laugh with a clever remark. Afterward, Joy congratulated me, though she teased me about my casual attitude. "It's all good," I said, knowing the tutor had a quirky sense of humor. Later, as Joy and I went to grab food, we spotted Leo and Violet sitting together in the cafeteria feeding each other. "Those scumbags," Joy hissed. I approached them, folding my arms. "Don't you two owe me an explanation for what happened?" "Nora, why are you still bringing this up?" "It's over," Leo snapped. Violet, as usual, played the understanding victim. "Leo, don't talk to Nora like that. This is all my fault," she said softly, trying to defuse the situation. I stood up to leave, but Joy quickly stopped me, saying, "Don't even think about going anywhere. You were involved in what happened at that birthday party." "Leo admitted to throwing the cream cake at you, Nora, hoping you'd have an allergic reaction and be unable to compete with him for the scholarship. Don't you want to clarify what happened that day? You were hit by the cake that Leo threw, which landed you in the hospital due to your mango allergy. Now you're sitting with Leo, flirting and sharing a meal. Are you two partners in crime?" Violet bit her lip and lifted her cold, determined black eyes. "Don't push me too far. I didn't do anything," she said firmly. "If you're truly innocent, would you just let this stain on your reputation remain?" I turned toward Leo and asked, "Did I end things with you? Are you so eager to have dinner with your goddess because your plan to frame me didn't work out? Is this meal your reward? Why choose the cafeteria over a fancy 5-star restaurant?" Leo abruptly stood up, retorting, "Nora, I've already told you, this has nothing to do with Violet. If you think I set you up, go to the police. Since no real harm was done, stop acting like a victim." I smiled instead of getting angry. "Maybe I wasn't physically harmed, but I have plenty of chat logs between you and Violet. You're such a cheap and low man, offering yourself to me over a vague promise. If Violet asks for more expensive gifts next time, are you going to end up working in a club to pay for them?" Leo didn't come from a good background. His father was an alcoholic and violent, and his mother remarried early. When we were together, I truly loved him, so I knew exactly how to hit him where it hurt. Leo, whose pride was wounded, flew into a rage, flipping the dinner plate in front of him. The plate and food went flying. But Joy and I had already stepped back, avoiding the mess. However, the food splattered onto Violet's coat and boots, drawing everyone's attention. People in the cafeteria started giving Leo dirty looks for his behavior. Anger flared in Leo's eyes, but quickly died down when he saw Violet, pale with fear. "Violet, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry," Leo stammered, dropping to one knee like a frantic child, using his sleeve to wipe the mess from her boots. Violet, looking shocked, kept retreating until she bumped into Joy and me. She had a strong, lingering perfume, the kind of scent used in meditation rooms to help people focus. She must have sprayed a lot, as the smell overwhelmed the cafeteria's food aromas, and I even sneezed. "Stay away from her," I muttered, "or he'll lick your boots next." Violet looked completely humiliated. I smirked and said in a low voice, "Isn't that scholarship important to you? How can you swallow this humiliation when you are being disrespected by someone so pathetic?" With a sigh, I smiled and announced loudly, "Leo, from today, you're no longer my boyfriend. And remember, we didn't break up. I dumped you because you're disgusting." Joy, adding to the drama, gestured mockingly toward the two of them. "Violet, Leo, congratulations. May you live happily ever after?" With that, we walked away confidently. I wasn't sure how Violet and Leo reacted afterward, but I didn't care. I was satisfied with making myself feel better this time. Soon, the story about me, Leo, and Violet spread throughout the school. Even though Violet was quite well known, her tactics weren't that impressive. She had someone anonymously post on the confession page, hinting that a student had cheated in the scholarship exam. The post got a lot of attention. Although it didn't name names, it clearly referred to a female student from the computer science department who had recently made a scene after a breakup. It was obvious the post was aimed at me. My class teacher found me and expressed concern that these baseless rumors could affect my application for the scholarship. I had been mistreated in my past life, but in this one, I promised myself I'd be strong when dealing with others. I told the teacher I'd like to confront whoever was spreading the rumors directly. The teacher, trying to calm things down, said, "The school won't believe baseless accusations from an anonymous source, but there's no need to make such a scene just because of a breakup." I understood that the department didn't want trouble, especially for us seniors, as we'd be graduating soon. But I wasn't going to let Violet and Leo off that easily. They started this, and I wasn't afraid to escalate the situation. I told the teacher, "I'm applying for a postgraduate program here. I won't let things spiral out of control. However, these people will leave after graduation, and I'll be stuck dealing with the consequences. How is that fair?" The teacher looked at me for a while before responding firmly, "Don't worry. The forum admin is one of your juniors, and the post will be deleted tonight. But if anyone tries to influence the department's decisions over personal matters, the school will investigate." Of course, it wouldn't be hard for the computer science department to track down who posted that anonymous message. In response to Violet's post, I uploaded a video on my social media from the birthday party. Some classmates had recorded videos, and one captured a moment where Leo and Violet shared a strange, knowing smile before Leo threw the cake at me. The footage made their intentions clear. I combined the surveillance footage from the karaoke room with the video from my phone, and even added subtitles to ensure there was no misunderstanding. "Baby, I've prepared a surprise for you," Are you happy? Nora's allergic to cream, so the scholarship will be yours. Everything was crystal clear. My post quickly went viral, garnering much more attention than Violet's anonymous one. 3 hours later, Leo called me. Nora, delete your post right now. You're ruining Violet's reputation. What's she supposed to do when she graduates and looks for a job? I replied coolly. Don't worry, your reputations are tied together. Neither of you will escape this. I'm just letting everyone see the truth. After that, I hung up and blocked both Leo and Violet. Later, I posted pictures of Joy and me happily enjoying a hot pot meal with the caption, "After this meal, good fortune will follow." I knew Leo and Violet would see it, and I hoped it would infuriate them. Joy, watching me closely, remarked, "Nora, you've changed." I raised an eyebrow, asking, "How so?" She hesitated before saying, "You're bolder, more daring, and your actions are a lot more assertive." I took a sip of beer, letting the bitter taste spread in my mouth. In my previous life, if someone had posted an anonymous message about me, I would have been busy explaining myself, falling right into Violet's trap. But now I realized that trying to defend myself against lies would only make things worse. So instead, I decided to flip the script and hit back hard. If they liked surprises, I'd give them one they wouldn't forget. I raised my glass, tapping it against my reflection in the window of the hot pot restaurant. "Here's to my former life," I said, "to that youthful existence that ended suddenly before I could get revenge." Soon after, the results of the graduate exam were released, and I became a grad student under my mentor. The matter of the anonymous forum post was quickly investigated, and shockingly, it was Jason who had posted it. To avoid stirring public opinion, the school chose not to officially announce the findings, though it was impossible to keep it hidden among the students. Luna, known as a feisty girl in the department, didn't hold back. She beat Jason up brutally, doing so right outside Violet's dorm building, all while scolding Violet relentlessly. Luna, however, was clever and never once mentioned Violet's name directly during her rant. Luna's roommates seized the moment to call in security and the dormitory managers, who tried to intervene. But by then, the situation had turned into a spectacle. A crowd had gathered on each floor above the dorm, and downstairs people formed a circle to watch. One of the dorm aunts, spitting out sunflower seed shells, summed it all up with a casual comment, "Who wants to eat leftovers? They're stale and foul." A security guard also chimed in with a grin. "No flower will bloom from leftovers," putting an end to the rumors. Joy and I regretted not being there ourselves. If we had been, we would have kicked Jason at least once. Because of Jason's actions, it's still unclear whether the department will give him his graduation certificate. He hadn't gained anything from Violet, so he turned to Luna, trying to win her back. By coincidence, Joy and I stumbled upon the scene as we were returning to our dorm after returning books to the library. Jason, his eyes swollen from crying like a goldfish, was nearly on his knees in front of Luna. "Luna, I'm an idiot," he sobbed. "I shouldn't have defended Violet. I just didn't want Nora to pass her exam because I thought it would make Violet feel better. I swear I won't do it again. Everyone back home knows about us. How will you explain this to your parents if we break up?" Luna didn't hit him anymore, but her gaze was icy. Jason sighed deeply. "I can't get back together with you just because Violet wasn't happy and you felt sorry for her. Did you even consider that spreading rumors could ruin someone's future? You acted immorally, not me. My parents will just say it's right to break up with you. As Jason tried to plead further, Joy and I stepped in. Joy stood in front of Luna while I kicked Jason from behind. You're disgusting. Get lost. Jason, completely stunned by the unexpected kick, froze, unsure of what to do. Joy grabbed a stick from the flower bed and shouted, Go, or I'll beat you until you do. Jason scrambled to his feet and ran away, humiliated. Behind us, Luna's eyes were red with tears. He's not the Jason I used to know anymore, she said. Luna and Jason had been together since high school, having come to the university from their hometown. Over their 4 years in college, they had been a couple who bickered, but always made up, and many people saw them as a cute, quarreling pair. Now, all that remained was bitterness. Was Violet some kind of sorceress? Jason had lost his mind. After calming down, we found a quiet cafe, and Luna opened an account on Xiaohongshu, handing us her phone. Look at this! Here's another persona Violet has created. Joy and I scroll through the account, which belonged to a fashion blogger with tens of thousands of followers. The account featured pictures of sexy and stylish outfits, along with designer handbags, high-end clothes, luxury cruises, expensive cars, celebrity events, and more. Occasionally, there were selfies, but only partial ones, like holding a bouquet of roses to hide the lower half of the face, showing only a pair of charming eyes. In another reflection, a seductive silhouette was visible, or only a side profile with delicate makeup was shown. It was easy to identify that the blogger was Violet. Didn't she always claim at school that she came from an educated, reserved family, which made her distant and difficult to approach? Yet here, the account was portraying the life of a rich girl flaunting her wealth. As Joy and I kept scrolling, we noticed something odd. The timelines didn't match up. For instance, when Violet was supposedly on a cruise watching the sunset, she was actually in the middle of her graduate exam. And when she posted about a celebrity tea party, the school was in lockdown due to the pandemic. How could she have attended? We exchanged looks, and Luna sneered. Violet always tried to present herself as this cold, untouchable fairy. But online, she's obsessed with living the life of the rich and glamorous. What kind of fairy is she pretending to be? She's clearly vain. How many more secrets does she have? She probably stayed quiet all the time to avoid slipping up, afraid people would figure out her lies. She wasn't avoiding groups because she didn't fit in. She was worried that if she talked too much, people from genuinely wealthy families would expose her fake persona. Just as Joy and I were about to say something, we overheard Leo's angry voice from the next booth. Violet, don't worry. If Jason bothers you again, I'll deal with him. The three of us exchanged glances and chose to stay silent. If you're in trouble, tell me, Leo continued. How could you confide in Jason? He completely misunderstood you, and now his stupidity is causing you problems. I've done so much for you, Violet. Why won't you choose me? Joy and I could barely hold back our laughter. What a suck-up! Violet's voice sounded pitiful as she replied, I can't come to you, Leo. It's because of me that you broke up with Nora. Jason was only trying to defend me. He's suffering for my sake. Nora has always seen me as an enemy. Even though she's now in grad school and I've been in the hospital, she's still making a fuss about that anonymous post. Who are you to be Nora's enemy? I thought. In the 4 years I'd known Violet, we'd only interacted a handful of times. Joy squeezed my hand, signaling me to stay calm as Leo continued. Violet, you're too kind. Nora got admitted, yet she's playing the victim. Everyone knows how she got her grades. Jason didn't name anyone in his post. She's just feeling guilty and trying to confuse people by playing innocent. Luna is so spiteful. After being with Jason for nearly 10 years, she makes a scene just because of some unrequited love. A girl like her deserves to be dumped. Luna's anger flared, and Joy and I quickly restrained her, shaking our heads. Violet went on. It's my fault. I underestimated how jealous women can be. Aren't couples supposed to trust each other no matter what? I don't get why Luna would throw away a 10-year relationship so easily. Luna looked ready to explode as Violet paused. And Leo, she continued, you should have pursued Nora. You owe her that. If you want to help me, apologize to her. Maybe if you two get back together, she'll drop the matter. Joy and I were trembling with rage as we tried to keep Luna calm. Why should I be Violet's enemy, or have to deal with Leo, that pompous idiot, I thought. Leo refused, and after some silence, we heard muffled sounds of panting and moaning from the other booth. Unbelievable, we muttered, furious. Moments later, Leo and Violet left the cafe, arm in arm, and crossed the street to check into the Four Seasons Hotel. I'm going to end it all, Luna suddenly said, her voice eerily calm. Joy and I stared at her, unsure if we'd heard correctly. I'm not actually going to kill myself, but I really don't want to let them off the hook. I've got a plan. I just need to ask you one thing. Are you in or not? Yes, why not? I died without a clear reason in my past life, and weren't they the indirect cause of it? Physically harming someone is illegal, but making them lose face a little isn't too much, right? Luna's plan started by going to the Four Seasons Hotel, where she bribed the front desk with a few hundred yuan to find out Leo's room number. She booked a room next to theirs and sent a message to us on Wheat, claiming she was going to commit suicide. As her friends, we naturally had to convince her otherwise. However, from the chat records, it was clear we couldn't change Luna's mind about killing herself. We had no option but to figure out which hotel she was at and call the police. But before doing that, we passed the information on to Luna's ex, Jason. Now, how Jason walked in and found Leo and Violet disheveled, and how the three of them ended up in a brawl that led to the police arriving. That was a complete coincidence. A false alarm. Are you serious? Luna had been struggling with depression at the time, needing sleeping pills to fall asleep every night. That day she did swallow some pills, but was later taken to the hospital for gastric lavage. Luna wasn't foolish, just stubborn. She wouldn't have risked her life for real. People's reactions in critical moments are always the most genuine. When Luna slowly regained consciousness in the hospital, she still asked us the question. After seeing me attempt suicide, did Jason rush to the hospital, or did he go to the police station with Violet? Joe and I stayed silent. The answer was obvious. That day, Jason watched as Luna was carried into the ambulance with guilt in his eyes. But he didn't follow her to the hospital. Even after being bailed out and returning to school, he never visited her. Luna whispered weakly, I know. A tear ran from the corner of her eye, disappearing into her black hair. Their 10 years together were truly over. Jason and Leo fought, but Jason was the main culprit. At the police station, Violet, his first love, whom he'd adored, didn't help him, and looked at him with disdain. Jason's dreams were crushed. He couldn't even get his graduation certificate. Violet's reputation was ruined, not only for breaking up two couples, but also due to Luna's suicide. She was completely ostracized. Even her roommates left her. Two moved out for internships, and the last one moved out without a word. When Violet asked the counselor for leave during graduation photos, her reason was that she didn't want to upset too many classmates. The counselor didn't say anything. Graduation is time of parting, after all. People leave sooner or later. Does it really matter when? On the day Violet left, a luxury car came to campus to pick her up. The driver was a refined middle-aged man. Passers-by assumed he was her father, and some greeted him as such, shouting, "Hello, Violet's dad!" His expression turned odd, and he hurried Violet along. But how fast could she move with 4 years' worth of luggage? Her former roommate, who had moved out, returned but didn't speak to her. Violet got into the car and left the university. Her roommate then threw all of Violet's belongings into the dormitory trash. Violet's Shanu account was blocked, reportedly because someone had filed a complaint. Surprisingly, Leo seemed the happiest in all of this. I heard he ended up with Violet, but he didn't attend the class graduation photo shoot either. He rented a house outside of campus and began job hunting early. He wanted a stable income to provide Violet with a comfortable, wealthy life. Maybe he was unaware of everything. Or perhaps he just liked the stability of their odd relationship. After that, Leo and Violet vanished from my life. I only heard about them from afar. I wanted to keep punishing them. But when people lose both their reputation and social lives, there's no point in continuing. Any further attacks would be meaningless. I never told anyone about my rebirth, as that brief and foolish death felt like a bad joke. My life shouldn't be a joke. Since I've been reborn, I need to strive for a brighter future. Only Jason seemed to have truly suffered in the end. He even begged me to write a letter of understanding to the department. But when I asked if Violet had anything to do with his actions, he stammered and couldn't give a clear answer. From their chat records, Violet never directly told Jason to spread rumors. For a moment, I didn't know whether to commend Violet for her cunning or scold Jason for being so infatuated. When Jason was blamed, he only said it was a joke. But my excellence should never be a reason for others to be jealous or to scheme against me. Now that his actions have been exposed, what right does he have to complain? People who betray others and have poor morals deserve to be scorned. He deserved it. That summer, we all went our separate ways, moving toward brighter futures. After entering graduate school, my advisor often took us out to eat. He'd always place dishes on my plate and joke, "Don't let our Nora go hungry." She chose me as her supervisor because she thought she'd have a good life with me. Even when new students joined, he'd repeat the joke. "Your senior thought she'd have a good life with me. Don't worry. Even if there's no meat, there'll always be soup." I was teased about this even after I graduated. After finishing graduate school, I interned at a large factory. My mentor, Stella, had graduated from an Ivy League school and returned from abroad. She had a beautiful, serene face and exuded grace, even without makeup. I noticed some familiar photos in her wave moments. They were the same pictures that Violet had copied, especially the one where Violet held roses in front of her face. Stella was effortlessly elegant, while Violet always looked like a frightened deer. At first, I thought it was a coincidence. Occasionally, in our conversations, Stella would sigh and mention how she had once sponsored a girl from a small town to attend my university. But after graduating, the girl didn't enter society to better herself. Instead, she married early and returned home. Everyone makes their own choices, Stella said. I didn't sponsor her so she could get married and have kids right away. I don't devalue marriage, but I think she wanted to escape societal competition, and her plan didn't work out. Just yesterday, my mum told me the girl had asked for more support to take the on-the-job postgraduate entrance exam. Stella ended the conversation with a smile. I shared this story with Joy and Luna in our group chat. We had kept in touch over the years. Joy had returned home to take the civil service exam and was now a government worker. Luna had gone home to take over the family business and help their small factory thrive. When they heard my story, both wondered if the girl Stella mentioned could have been Violet. Not long after graduation, Violet did marry Leo. Their wedding, however, was rushed and poorly done because Leo's family was not well off and Violet's parents weren't willing to contribute much financially. Many people didn't understand why Violet, once the campus beauty from an intellectual family, would marry Leo. It's not that Leo was terrible, but Violet certainly had better options. A few days later, Luna dug up some information on Leo and Violet's current situation. She also uncovered some secrets about Violet from our university days. It turned out Violet's parents were laid-off workers with only middle school educations, and the intellectual family story was something Violet made up. After sharing this, Luna sent a chat record she'd gotten from Jason, revealing more about Violet's background. The reason Violet was sponsored by Stella's family was because Stella's mother and Violet's mother were distant relatives. One year, when Stella's family visited their hometown, they saw Violet, who came from a poor family but was very beautiful. They decided to sponsor her education. When Violet went to university, Stella's family even brought her into their home. But as they say, no good deed goes unpunished. After being exposed to life in the city, Violet's mindset changed. Violet gradually started requesting more money from Stella's family, offering various excuses. Despite their wealth, Stella's family wasn't naive. They suggested that Violet take up part-time work to support herself while studying, but she refused with multiple excuses. After that, the family limited their financial support to tuition and living expenses. During this period, they discovered that Violet had been secretly taking Stella's belongings, intended for use abroad, and using them herself. Worse still, she even sold some of them. I recall an incident when Leo accidentally spilled soup on Violet in the cafeteria. At the time, she was wearing something from a famous brand. Little did anyone know. Those items were stolen. When Stella's family found out that Violet, whom they had generously supported, was a thief, they naturally expelled her from their household. They didn't involve the police for two reasons. One, the family was wealthy and didn't care about the small losses. And two, Violet's parents were skilled at playing the victim card. Her father, disabled from a work-related injury, pleaded for his daughter, claiming that the family couldn't survive if Violet went to prison. After reading the lengthy chat logs, I let out a sigh. The reason Jason knew so much was that he had pursued Violet after graduation, but she never took him seriously. Jason, determined to learn more about her, followed her to her hometown and gradually uncovered her fake persona. Curious, I asked why Jason had shared so much with Luna. She responded with a smug emoji, explaining that since graduating, Jason had struggled to find stable work, partly because he didn't have a graduation certificate. Despite his situation, he wanted to reconcile with her but couldn't avoid her questions. Joy sent a hugging emoji in response, and Luna explained that they hadn't really parted on bad terms. Jason just didn't deserve to be with her anymore. Luna seemed more composed now, a stark contrast to her fiery personality in college. I couldn't tell whether this change was for the better or worse, but I hoped she would be happy in the future. Toward the end of the year, Stella's wedding took place. The venue, a lesser-known hotel with historical significance dating back to the Republic of China, was typically reserved for VIPs. Stella's family, although wealthy, was not ostentatious. Among the guests, some came from wealthy backgrounds, yet the atmosphere felt intimidating. It seemed that Stella's family's noble presence created an invisible pressure. In a secluded part of the hotel, I overheard a familiar, arrogant voice. Leo's. He was speaking to Violet, who wore a simple, wrinkled white dress, clearly the best she could afford at the time. Violet, who had once exuded elegance, now appeared worn down by life's struggles. With tears in her eyes, she pleaded with Leo to leave her some dignity in front of Stella's family. But Leo, sharply dressed, callously reminded her of past lies and manipulations, berating her for her deceitful ways. Violet stammered in response, reminding him that they were married. Leo, growing more furious, pointed out that she only married him after being rejected by a wealthy man, her roommate's uncle. He accused her of infidelity both before and after their marriage. As I listened to their exchange, I hid among the guests. When they passed by, I noticed bruises on Violet's arm. A young couple nearby recognized Leo and Violet, and whispered about how Violet had once used Stella's family name to attract rich people. They mocked her for begging for favors again, wondering aloud how Stella's family could still tolerate her. Soon after, I saw hotel security dragging Leo and Violet out of the venue, with Leo angrily slapping her twice in the face. Witnessing this, I thought of how far Violet had fallen. Once admired, she now seemed like a shattered reflection of her former self. Later, I recounted what I had seen to my friends. Joy immediately sent a voice message, criticizing Violet as someone who always sought shortcuts rather than working hard, despite the many opportunities she had, including being accepted into a prestigious university and gaining connections with Stella's family. She resorted to theft. It seemed that once she succeeded in stealing, she couldn't stop. Luna, sighing, added that Jason had also been a victim of Violet's deception, ultimately losing his prestigious university diploma because of her. We all laughed when Luna revealed that her father still held a grudge and would chase Jason down the street, ready to beat him up. Amid our laughter, Luna dropped a bombshell. She had gotten married. She shared a photo of her marriage certificate, and we all expressed our surprise. Luna explained that she had met her true love through a family introduction and was now happily married, no longer dwelling on her past with Jason. The next news I heard about Leo and Violet was far more tragic. Leo had been involved in a case where he murdered Violet to claim insurance money. He had poisoned her food with mangoes, knowing she was allergic. After she collapsed, struggling to breathe, Leo watched her suffer and didn't call for help until it was too late. Violet's parents, upon learning of her death, suspected foul play and sought help from Stella's family, who advised them to call the police. Fortunately, they intervened in time. and an investigation revealed Leo's cruel actions, along with evidence of previous abuse. During his trial, Leo showed no remorse, even claiming that Violet had wronged him, and he was entitled to her life in exchange for the money she owed him. This case stirred up our former social circles, leading many to recall Violet's deceitful ways. Her former roommate, still bitter, shared more details about how Violet had fabricated her entire identity, lying about her family and her past relationships. Even in death, Violet's reputation remained tarnished, with many feeling that her downfall was deserved. Despite her tragic end, some could not overlook the harm she had caused others, and her former roommate vowed to continue exposing her lies. Reflecting on these events, I thought back to my own experiences with Violet, especially the time she nearly cost me a chance to take an important exam. As Luna and I traveled to her hometown for her wedding, I chuckled at the memory, thinking of it as a belated birthday gift. It seemed that, after all these years, fate had finally caught up with Violet.